Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Konrad Gorlinski. The first story for today, Jolanta Brzeska, who launched a tenant movement to battle against the so-called wild reprivatization scheme, will not be given the title of honorary citizen of Warsaw. Ms. Brzeska, who presumed to have been murdered on March 1st, 2011, was the face of a movement against a legal scheme which made it possible for dishonest businessmen to take control of tenant buildings and to evict thousands of Varsovians from their homes. The decision to not make her an honorary citizen was taken by a city councillor from the Civic Platform party. 30 of the councilmen voted against making Jolanta Brzeska an honorary citizen of Warsaw, while 20 voted for and 1 abstained. The councilmen of the Civic Platform party stressed that Jolanta Brzeska was honored by the Warsaw City Council in 2016 when it named one of the city's squares in her honor. You could say that the Civic Platform party continues down the path it has staked out previously. First, while governing the city, their representatives stood shoulder to shoulder with the reprivatization mafia. They allowed these buildings to be handed over practically free of charge, and they refused to listen to the tenants when they complained about being unjustly evicted. And now, the party is against honoring a person who was murdered for being against the scheme. The situation is scandalous. Half of all adults in Britain have now received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, becoming the world's first major economy to hit that milestone. Today, Health Minister Matt Hancock said on Twitter that the figure had been reached after a record 660,000 shots were administered on Friday.
I'm absolutely delighted to tell you that we have now vaccinated half of all adults in the United Kingdom. It's a huge success. I want to say many, many thanks to all those involved, including the half of all adults who've come forward. It's so important because this vaccine is our way out of this pandemic. So when you get the call, please come forward and get the jab and join the majority of adults who've now been jabbed. The UK vaccination programme is a big success story. It's down to the hard work of many, many people. This isn't easy, but we're making massive strides.
Israel is the leader in vaccinating its population, followed by the United Arab Emirates, Chile, and then the United Kingdom. And investors are watching closely to see which economies might recover first. This vaccine is our way out of this pandemic. The UK vaccination program is a big success story, said Hancock. Distributed by the state-run health service, Britain's vaccine rollout has got off to a blistering start, but the government has warned this week of a market slowdown in April due to a delay of a shipment from India's Serum Institute and because a batch in the UK needed to be retested. Britain has so far relied on vaccines from Pfizer, BioNTech, AstraZeneca, and Oxford University, which several European countries had temporarily stopped using earlier this week over safety concerns. Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi has stated that he would personally take the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine, but defended this week's temporary suspension over concerns about possible side effects. Italy resumed use of the Anglo-Swedish vaccine on Friday, following a green light from Europe's medicines watchdog EMA, after a 3-day pause due to fears about possible blood clotting. I have not yet made a reservation for receiving the vaccine, but my age group is now among those that are allowed to receive it. Yes, I will take AstraZeneca. Was it a mistake to suspend the vaccine? No, it was not a mistake. EMA told us to continue with the vaccinations, but at the same time, they took some time to check that the vaccine was safe. Now, I don't remember the language they used, but if you were in my place, or in the place of other European leaders, what would you have done? Many scientists had different opinions. In Italy, they had one opinion. In Germany, they had another. Even within Germany, the opinions were different. In France and Spain, there were other opinions. The decision to suspend the AstraZeneca vaccine was not taken to imitate other countries or to protect the interests of Germany. Speaking after his cabinet approved some 32 billion euros of stimulus measures to support the battered economy, Draghi said that he was convinced that any reluctance of Italians to take the vaccine would only be temporary.
L'obiettivo del decreto è dare
The aim of the decree is to give as much money as possible to as many people as possible, as quickly as possible. The decree contains some 32 billion euros of stimulus measures, and this allocation was approved in Parliament on the proposal of the previous government. So we have moved within this framework.
fu approvato dal Parlamento.
The decree increases benefits for the unemployed and provides fresh financing for the health services as Italian hospitals grapple with a steady rise in coronavirus infections. The government also extended a freeze on firing, which was due to expire on March 31st. For large businesses which have access to furlough schemes, the extension runs until the end of June, while for small firms it continues throughout October. High-level representatives of the Taliban have announced that they will agree to accelerate peace talks with the Afghan government. At a meeting in Moscow that followed an international conference there on the peace process. The process is supposed to facilitate a U.S. troop withdrawal from the war-torn country by May 1st. During the press conference, the Taliban's negotiation team stated that it is essential to speed up the negotiation process in the hope of reaching a permanent ceasefire and lasting peace. As you know, inter-Afghan talks have been going on in Doha for several months now, and the issue connected to the formation of a new system of government will be decided there. It is a matter of our future that both negotiating teams, including the people of Afghanistan, decide what system should be in place going forward. Of course, there's no doubt that it should be an Islamic system. Moscow hosted the International Conference on Afghanistan on March 18th, at which Russia, the United States, China, and Pakistan released a joint statement calling on the Afghan sides to reach a peace deal and curb violence, and on the Taliban to not launch any offensives in the spring and summer.
We had 18 months of negotiation with the Americans, and they agreed that they will withdraw in 14 months. And the time is now going to end at the end of April and 1st of May. And they should go, because if they do not go at the end of April, that means they continue. After that, it will be a kind of a violation of the agreement. That violation would not be from our side, but it would be from their side. So, in that case, if there is action, of course there will be reaction.
The summit comes just 6 weeks before a deadline for the United States to pull out troops that have been in Afghanistan for nearly 20 years, and President Joe Biden must soon decide whether to keep forces there past a May 1st deadline to withdraw, which was agreed with the Taliban last year under Biden's predecessor, Donald Trump. And that's all for tonight. Thanks for tuning in, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.